DJ Durkin is trying to win games to become Auburn's next head coach.
Vanderbilt is still fighting for a college football playoff spot.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yes. Welcome on into the special crossover edition of Locked On Auburn and Locked On Vandy. I'm Zach Blackerby of Locked On Auburn. He's Corey Burton, host of Locked On Vandy. And goodness gracious, the vibes of this game are so different than I thought they would be going into the season. Corey, Vanderbilt fighting for a playoff spot. Auburn's head coach is no longer coaching, as DJ Durkin is the interim. We'll give our predictions. How does Auburn slow down Pavia? All of that on today's crossover. Corey, from the Auburn point of view on this, it's okay. DJ Durkin, can he do enough down the stretch to be considered to be Auburn's next head coach? A lot of Auburn fans are saying yes, he can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been a head coach before, and that he's got that going in his favor. It seems like from what I've heard, the players are rallying around him.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they really, and if you just watch this defense play all year long, even during the Hugh Freeze era, they play super hard for him. And those guys are like on point. And if the offense was ever even halfway there on point, y'all would have been a lot better of a team. But it was just such a mess offensively. Like the defense just would just run out of gas almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Or sometimes they just, lose, 10-3 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, Auburn, one of three defenses to not allow more than 24 points in any game this year. The other two is number one, and the other one is ranked number 2. And then that's Auburn.
That's wild.
It's wild. Corey, this one to me, and we've talked a little bit off air about this earlier in the week. This game has the makings to look really similar to last year's game.
Mm-hmm.
Has your opinion changed on that at all?
No, not at all. I think the way Auburn plays defense, the way Vanderbilt plays defense, as inefficient and ineffective, and we have no idea what's going to happen with the new play caller, Ashton Daniels, quarterback 1, for the team that was just announced earlier. All of that combined leads to like a 14-7, 20-10, 24. Like,
yeah,
I think for this particular matchup, like 20-17 would be high scoring.
Yeah, I think the over-under at FanDuel's like 44.5, and I'm like, I just don't. That just seems so high to me. We'll confirm that in a second, but
yeah, it was 45.5 at one point. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Still, that just seems high.
Mm-hmm.
I think Auburn's going to slow down Pavia, to the sense of like, he has like what they did last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get shut out. And I think that's about what this defense would have to do, I think, for Auburn to be able to pull off this upset on the road. But look, we've seen this movement of these interim coaches getting a bump throughout college football. If I'm Vandy, I'm looking and saying like, okay, well, what happened with UCLA? What happened with Arkansas early on? Can Auburn get that bump with Hugh Freeze no longer part of the offense? Derek Nix has been labeled the full-time play caller. He'll call plays on every down. That might have been a little bit of a shot. I don't know, but does Auburn get enough of a jolt to be able to outscore Diego Pavia and Vandy? I could talk myself into it if I really wanted to, but like I don't think I think that.
Yeah, it honestly has everything to do with how Vanderbilt comes out in this game. Like if they come out flat, if they come out sloppy, penalties, not tackling, all of that stuff, I think you're looking at a team that could get a jolt, right? Mm-hmm. If Vanderbilt comes out and just shuts Auburn down the first couple of drives, I could see that offense just going into the tank a little bit. And that defense just hanging on for dear life, and Vanderbilt just outlasting them, not necessarily like blowing them out, but just kind of outlasting them, almost kind of like what happened last year, where Auburn got off to that early start, Vanderbilt answered right back, and then they just traded jabs for 3.5 quarters, and then Vanderbilt just kind of nudged ahead, and Vanderbilt's just got to keep that same energy going, and they can't really let Auburn get. If they knock Auburn down, they can't let them get up. And if they do, Auburn's got the talent to be able to pull this off, but it all depends on Vanderbilt's defense. Can they contain? Can they tackle well on the perimeter? They have in some games. Other games, especially Texas, they have tackled atrociously on the perimeter. So it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde situation out there.
And that's kind of been Vandy's strength, is how like technically sound they are. Where like they don't really let mistakes beat them. That wasn't really the case against Texas. Auburn's the opposite offensively, is they'll let mistakes beat them over and over and over and over again. Defensively, obviously the defense has been great, but offensively, it's like if something goes against them, they've just had no ability to like overcome it.
Yeah, especially in the second half. Like that Georgia game was probably one of the worst examples I've ever seen of that. Maybe even the Kentucky game. I was part of the sicko crew that actually watched that game. It was ugly. I don't know, like from y'all's perspective, if it was uglier than from my perspective. I was just enjoying it from afar and just like
enjoying that is a sicko word to describe that game.
I was just like, what am I seeing here? Like this is, we're a banana peel away from being the Mississippi State 3-2 game. And y'all were involved in that one too, weren't you?
We were. Yeah. We keep finding our ways to be involved in these disasters. Yeah. I mean, I think the plan was to like move on from Freeze after this game if they lost because of the bye week that Auburn has after this. But, the Kentucky thing was such a disaster. Like John Cohen had to fire him. He had to.
I mean, it was epically bad. Like your defense repeatedly gave y'all opportunities to score, and you couldn't do it.
Correct. Yeah, and the only reason they had 3 points is because Elijah Melendez had that interception return. So there would have been something fitting about Diego Pavia beating Hugh Freeze for the last game.
Like I think there probably would have been something. That would have been so fun. Like I just wish it would have just lasted one more week so that Pavia.
I mean, I'm glad it's over. Personally, like I think we have more of a chance to beat Vandy now than we did last week because of that jolt. Because like I'm excited to see what Derek Nix does. I don't think he's really been given this opportunity before. I mean, he was the OC under Kiffin, so like what does that even mean? And then obviously under Freeze. So I mean, what a cool opportunity for Derek Nix, a guy who's like universally liked in the industry. And now he gets to call plays. So I'm excited to see exactly what this looks like. Do they have a little bit more of a game plan? Are they more focused? Are they more intense? We'll see. But DJ Durkin, this is a big game for him as far as him saying, hey, I'm worthy of it. I'm worthy of being considered being Auburn's next head coach. Now, Corey Vandy's playing for a playoff spot.
They are. I have a quick question for you, though.
Yes.
With the whole interim switch over and change it, like with it not being a bye week, with it just being a regular game week, do they really have time to make a lot of wholesale changes, or are they just going to try to hang on for dear life and get to the bye week so that they can kind of regroup?
I'm not expecting a whole lot of changes. I thought the quarterback situation was interesting because you had an opportunity to go back to Jackson, keep Ashton, or just throw it all out and go with Deuce Knight, who, a lot of people are presuming is the future, and you chose to go with Ashton. So I think that would signify, at least on that they're not too eager to throw everything out. I don't think personnel has been the issue, Corey. I think a lot of it's been play calling and scheme and just doing stuff that doesn't make sense. Like I think play calling would fix a lot of it. Has Auburn's offensive line been great? No, but I don't think that's all of it. I think that's just kind of been the most glaring thing that we all see. I mean, when you have a quarterback who doesn't hold on to the foot, or when you have a quarterback that holds onto the ball too long, the O-line wears that. When you have play calling that doesn't make sense, the O-line wears that. When you have third and long every single series, the offensive line wears that. And I don't think the O-line is as bad as people are making it out to be, but it hasn't been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So if you wanted to make some personnel changes there, I guess you could, but I'm not expecting anything, to answer your question.
All righty then.
Yeah. Vanderbilt still playing for a playoff spot? We tackle that next, right here on this crossover edition of Locked On Auburn and Locked On Vandy. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Supply House. Corey, can you imagine buying any kind of part related to plumbing, HVAC, or electrical anywhere other than with our friends at Supply House?
No, absolutely. And with the with construction being in the family business, I couldn't imagine that even more. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Supply House is big. I mean, so you know how big deadlines are, and just the transparent, like, hey, here's what we have in stock. Here's when it can get. You don't have to punt any projects. That's a big deal. Staying on time is a huge deal. Over 280,000 parts. 280,000. That's a lot. That's a high number. That's a high number.
It's a big number.
You can join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn or Locked On Vandy your first listen every single day. For your second listen, check out the other show. We'd love to have you. Corey, Vandy's playing for a playoff spot. Like it's November, and that's still a narrative that is alive. And that's super, super exciting because I think the college football world loves Diego Pavia.
They do. They love him. Some hate him. He's very polarizing, which is great for storylines for Vanderbilt. I mean, the dude is he just produces. And even in that Texas game where you lose and unfortunately losses, you take a hit. He was in some Heisman conversations. You lose a game, takes a hit, but he went over 300 yards. And he accounted for 4 touchdowns, threw for 3, one ran for another. And it was too little too late against Texas. I think if they had 3 more minutes, which is the same exact narrative they had in last year's game with Texas, if they just had 3 more minutes, they could probably win that game. But, him and Eli Stowers had monster games, but it was overshadowed by the fact that their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed for 3.5 quarters, maybe even almost all 4 quarters.
Sure.
And, it just kind of got overshadowed. So this offense, and I said it in one of my episodes earlier this week, like they found something there, and they found an avenue of their offense that I don't know that they were aware that they could execute that well. A little bit of tempo if they want to, so they can change the pace on you now. They have that ability. And some not necessarily deep passing game, which I do think they like to take deep shots because it just keeps those DBs honest and say, hey, we're going to take these shots. You better be ready. And they can hit a few, but they're not like super consistent on them. But sometimes those deep vertical shots, you don't really need to be. The threat alone makes it dangerous. But Diego Pavia's best pass, he throws slants really, really well. So he can get in a rhythm. He
throws what really well?
Slants.
You can run slants in college football today?
You can. Diego Pavia throws them all the time.
Oh, Auburn fans aren't aware of that.
Yeah, that's probably something that Hugh Freeze. I think that page.
You throw it in the middle of the field? That's allowed?
It is allowed. It's not against the rules.
Who knew?
Yeah, and you can throw it to your tight end too.
Well, we throw it to the tight end. He just drops it a lot.
Oh, yeah. So tell him he's allowed to catch it. Okay.
No, Preston Howard. Yeah, that's
he's allowed to catch it.
That one's been tough. He has not had a good season. Hopefully he turns it around this year. But yeah, I mean, I think with Diego Pavia, you do so much. I'm excited to see Diego Pavia go up against this Auburn defense, because I'm actually taking Auburn's defense in this matchup. It's the other way around where I just don't see Auburn scoring points, and it's like, well, Pavia is going to get them to 14 or so, I would think, and that's with this Auburn offense, like that might be enough. That might be enough. I mean, the Auburn offense it's just been awful, Corey. It's been so abysmal where I just I don't know. It's tough to predict Auburn like getting into the end zone 3 times. Like that's a really tough stretch. And like Kentucky's defense stinks. I mean, even Arkansas, when they played Arkansas 2 weeks ago in the second half, everybody's talking about how good Ashton Daniels looked. And it's like, okay, but they didn't score a touchdown. They didn't score an offensive touchdown outside of the first quarter. It was the first drive of the game against Arkansas's defense.
Who can't stop anybody. Yeah.
They can't stop anybody except for Auburn in the red zone. So I don't I don't really know what's fair to expect on this. And I'm trying to, give my guys and my team, a shot and an opportunity here. But it was really going to come down to like, do you get that jolt, that interim bump for a few weeks?
Is that enough to get you 3 touchdowns? Do you turn Diego Pavia over one time and set you up with a short field? Like that's a possibility. Huge. That would be a huge turn of events. So there's a lot of things with this Auburn defense, and I do think that is a favorable matchup for Auburn. It's much like, Texas's defense. I think they gave up some big stuff earlier in the year because their offense was just so all over the place that they were all over the place as a result too. They have since kind of figured some things out. That defense is incredibly fast. Missouri, great, phenomenal on the edges. They got a big space eater as a nose guard, and their linebackers are downhill and they'll hit you in the mouth. Right. They're really physical and their edges are extremely elite. Who specifically on this Auburn defense? You had to pinpoint 1-2 guys. You're like, okay, these are the 2 guys. Everybody else just kind of feeds off of these 2 guys.
Well, Xavier Atkins for Auburn at linebacker, there's been weeks where he's been the best defender in college football. He's been unbelievable. Kept getting buried in the depth chart at LSU, comes over and plays for Auburn. He's been unbelievably impressive. So I'd go with him. Keldrick Falks, the obvious one. He might be a top 10, top 15 draft pick when he plays edge. So I won't go with him. I'm really high on Auburn's corners, so I'll go Jay Crawford, where's number 23 on the outside. He's been incredible this year.
Yeah, edge defenders have been kind of a key against Vanderbilt because those are the guys that contain Diego Pavia. So Diego's gonna pump fake it.
So in the past, when Auburn's played other guys, and Durkin talked about this a little bit because he was asked a bunch of questions earlier this week about Pavia, obviously. Mm-hmm. Comparing him, because Auburn's played a lot of dual threat athletic quarterbacks this year. Marcel Reed, Mateer, right? And so he was asked, is the game plan similar? And he's like, no, not really, because they can do they do it differently than other guys do. But so take that for what it's worth. But in those other games, Atkins was kind of the spy against those guys. Do they do that against Pavia? I think you'll see him on him some, if not often.
Yeah, I think one of the things about Vanderbilt's offense is that they have the ability to change things so drastically formational wise with pre-snap motions, or even just coming out in a funky formation, running weak and going against tendency. They, for whatever reason, they have a knack for forcing defenses to stay in their base packages, base coverage packages, base pressure packages, base run defense. And not a lot of teams are getting hyper aggressive against Vanderbilt because of what they can do against that aggressiveness. Like LSU, the times that they dialed it up are the times that Pavia would just step up and run for X amount of yards. And even that touchdown was a corner blitz. Defensive, the edge guys got up the field, and Pavia just stepped up and ran it in for a touchdown from 23 yards out or something like that. So that kind of stuff, teams are very, very conservative against doing that kind of stuff. And if Vanderbilt can keep Auburn in their base defenses, they have a better chance at moving the ball and thus putting it across the goal line.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right, I've got one more question for you, and then let's jump into our picks and predictions. That's next on this crossover edition of Locked On Auburn and Locked On Vandy. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. The line opened at Auburn being a 7.5 dog.
That's a big
one. Now Vandy is a 6.5 point favorite. So moved a point in Auburn's direction. I like this line more. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is a better line, but we'll see. And then the over-under, you're right, 45.5. That seems high. That seems high, Corey.
It does. If you're going same game, I would take I'll go ahead and tell you to smash the under. I'll tell you the other part of it later. But
Yeah, sure. No, we're in agreement there. I got a feel we're going to be in agreement on both of them, but we'll see. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Final few minutes on this crossover edition of Locked on Auburn, Locked on Vandy, Zach Blackerby, Corey Burton here with you. Before we get into picks and predictions, I want to know, like, one, who would you have rather seen Auburn start at quarterback? And then what was your reaction when you saw, oh, it's Ashton Daniels at quarterback? Did you have an opinion one way or the other?
No, like I think I wasn't sure what they were going to try to do with Jackson Arnold. I knew he was a really good runner, not quite as polished as a passer. So from that perspective, I probably would have rather seen Jackson Arnold.
Okay.
But when they announced Ashton Daniels, I was like, okay, he's good, but like there's not a lot of film out there on him. So like I don't know one way or the other. Like, should I be scared? Should I be excited that they're starting this guy that doesn't have a lot of experience? Or like, how do we feel about that? So when they announced Ashton Daniels, I was like, okay, well, I don't know if he's as strong of a runner as Jackson Arnold, so that's good.
They're different. He's a little bit more of a bruising runner. So he has 2 years starting at Stanford, which is obviously a different system, but he was an effective runner there for sure. This past week, I don't think we really got to see any of them. So like even the Auburn tape that's out there, he was either there were guys behind the line or they just asked the receivers to run like curls all game. Like there was a joke that we started having halfway through the game where it's like, when's the last time we've hit a receiver like running away from the line?
I listened to your reaction stuff after that game because I was just curious what your thoughts were on that, because I kept flipping back and forth to that in the Tennessee game, and I kept staying on the Auburn game. I'm like, this is like one of those unfolding disasters that you can't take your eyes off of.
Right.
And I didn't really pay much attention to the routes probably as heavily as you guys did, but then I heard in your reaction shows, your solo one and the one you did with
Daryl.
Yeah. You were like, we have comeback routes. Everything comes back to the ball. And y'all were both just like flabbergasted over that. So I thought that was kind of.
We've got Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton.
Yeah.
And Malcolm Simmons, which we don't throw to anymore. So it's just like, what in the world is going on?
It's a great duo with Singleton and
on paper going into the season. It was one of the best in college football. Everyone agreed, but
talent wise, it still is. Just production wise, it's not.
Sure, you're right. You're right. So that's been a disappointment. But that's the kind of thing where like, okay, does changing who's calling plays, could that impact that or not? That we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I just think with the quarterback, like I don't know if much is going to be able to change based on what the quarterbacks are able to do and what they were recruited to come in and do.
Yeah, you're right.
Hugh Freeze's system, like it's just different, right?
No, you're right. You're right. All right, let's get into picks and predictions. I haven't done I usually say a score. I haven't talked much about this game because Hugh Freeze got fired. So this is actually the first time I think all week I've talked about this game. I'm gonna go 17-13 Vanderbilt.
Okay. I'm going 17-10 Vanderbilt. I'm gonna hit that cover with 6.5. With the 7.5 cover, I was gonna out from a betting perspective, I was gonna say take Auburn at 7.5 because I don't think Vandy's gonna win by more than a touchdown. Like if Vandy wins, it's gonna be close. If Auburn wins, it's going to be close. I don't think either team's gonna.
Flow of the game for me is I think.
So same game, take Vandy minus 6.5 and the under.
Yeah, and there's a totally this game actually I think could go in a few different ways. One, I mean, we both predicted pretty similar things. I could see the Auburn offense just still not getting anything done, and I also could see them putting it together. I'm predicting that they won't put it together. A little reverse psychology going on.
There you go.
I'd love for Derek Nix to kind of get his shot and say, bang, here we go. You should have been using me this way the entire time. That'd be what a great story that would be, but also be very frustrating as an Auburn fan. But it's just, Corey, I say this every week for every crossover this season. It's like the pieces are there. The pieces are there for Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're there at quarterback, and the scheme has been terrible. And like you said, how much scheme can you change in a week? But I do think the Auburn defense is going to give the Auburn offense a chance. I really do. And then they probably won't do it. And then, does Vandy score again in the fourth quarter to put the game out of reach or something? That wouldn't shock me. Other side of this, Auburn has historically done okay in Nashville. So how does that play into it? I mean, this is a different Vandy team than normal.
Vandy team in Auburn. I don't think Auburn's been down like this in a while. Like I would even say you're down more than the Harsin era. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would.
Like I haven't seen an Auburn team look this bad ever in my lifetime
on offense.
Yeah, on offense, really. But it's affected the way Auburn plays defense. The defense, they play as great as they can for as long as they can, and then it just falls apart. Because
which is kind of wild that the numbers are as good as they are.
Yeah.
Considering they're on the field all the time.
But they're losing games 23-10. They're losing games 17-7. Like they're losing these low scoring games. It's like a disaster.
Yeah.
The defense they just can't, it just like it's like the dam breaks and they just can't control it. And it's no fault of the defenses whatsoever. Because a lot of Georgia's touchdowns, I think there wasn't many marches for scores with the Georgia game. Was there? I think they scored on a couple short.
The one that put it out of reach was.
Yeah, but that was the only one. And
I mean, that's
the
a
momentum
point that they eventually just kind of.
And the avalanche had already happened. Like the offense had already been just so.
Right.
Foobar. Disaster.
Right.
Yeah.
Get ready to see the worst officiated game you've ever seen. That's been a trend this year as well.
Yeah. Officiating just all around is just taken.
It's been bad.
It's been bad.
But only one team has gotten a ref fired this year.
Oh, that's impressive.
That
is very impressive. Yeah. Go
ahead.
I was gonna say they were trying to get one fired when Vanderbilt played Texas. They were like the Texas fans were like, "Oh, the refs," and I'm like, "Guys, you won. What are you complaining about?"
Yeah, we haven't played Texas in football yet, but I'm sure it'll be an experience for sure. All right, so you're saying 17-10. I'm saying 17-13. Mm-hmm. We're both picking Vandy. We're both saying the under hits. Take that for what it's worth. Corey, for all the Auburn folks watching, how can they check out more of your Vanderbilt content?
Well, they can check it out on social media at Locked On Vandy on the major 3 platforms: TikTok, Instagram, and mostly X right now. They can check me out on YouTube, Locked On Vandy, anywhere you get your podcast as well. The Spotify, Apple Music world, and anywhere else you may listen. That's where I am. That's where I live.
Yep. And for Vandy folks, if you want more of the Auburn side of this, anywhere you check out Locked On Vandy, you can find Locked On Auburn. For Corey Burton of Locked On Vandy, I'm Zach Blackerby of Locked On Auburn, and this has been a college crossover presented by the Locked On Podcast Network.
Peace.